Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has said that Canada should reopen its embassies in Iran and Venezuela, the missions that were closed by his predecessors. The Mark Carney has argued that the lack of a diplomatic presence is hampering Ottawa's ability to assist the Canadians abroad and to respond effectively to humanitarian crises despite Canada's deep disagreements with both governments. He's also backed the two-state solution for Palestine, suggesting a peaceful coexistence with Israel.
Iran, Venezuela, two examples. There are others. And then that puts us at a disadvantage, first and foremost, to helping Canadians that are in these countries. Consular cases, we've had to rely on allies and countries that also who aren't our natural allies to help us, particularly in Iran, and help Canadians, get Canadians out. My view is that engagement is not endorsement. Having an embassy, having consular services in a country does not mean we endorse the policies of that country. It does mean we have diplomatic relations. It does mean that we have people there that can help Canadians and in human tragedies can provide more immediate on-the-ground assistance where we can be helpful. Recognize the state of Palestine, which is a decision we took, and I stand by this, we took because the possibility, the prospect, the probability of a two-state solution was receding. Now, what is a two-state solution? This answers your question, which is a free state of Palestine living in peace and security with Israel.
Now, Canada's intelligence agency, the CSIS, has admitted that Khalistani extremists operating from Canadian soil were responsible for the 1985 bombing of the Air India Flight 182 and has now described it as a heinous act of terror. In a statement that was posted on social media, the Canadian Security Intelligence Service marked the National Day of Remembrance for victims of terrorism by paying tributes to the 329 people who were killed in that attack. The Canadian Intelligence Organization recalled the events of the 23rd of June 1985, when a bomb was planted on the Boeing 747, which destroyed the aircraft over the Atlantic Ocean as it flew from Montreal to London, killing every single person on board. The agency said that it was less than a year old at the time, noting that the tragedy had shaped its evolution. The CSIS added that it was committed to protecting the Canadian citizens from political, religious and ideologically motivated violence. The development has come after India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval visited Ottawa in February 2026. Doval had held talks with the Canadian counterpart and officials focusing on deepening cooperation on national security, law enforcement and countering extremism. Both sides have since emphasized practical collaboration on shared threats. Now, parallel to this, the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney and other leaders have also used the anniversary to reaffirm vigilance against all forms of terrorism. In its 2025 public report, the agency identified a small but an active network of Canada-based Khalistani extremists engaged in activities including fundraising, propaganda and support for politically motivated violence primarily directed at India. Now, the agency has warned of the risk posed by those crossing into violent extremism. Now, the Air India bombing was in fact carried out by members of the Babbar Khalsa, a Khalistani terror organization. The Canadian inquiries later highlighted intelligence and coordination failures between CSIS, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and other agencies that allowed the pilot to succeed despite prior warnings. Most of the victims of 1985 Air India bombings were Canadian citizens or residents of Indian origin. Now, the attack remains Canada's deadliest terrorist incident and one of the worst acts of aviation terrorism in history. A second bombing intended for another Air India flight exploded at Tokyo's Narita airport, killing at least 2 baggage handlers. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.